Marcus Webb sat in his cubicle on the third floor of the Seattle Municipal Building, staring at his computer screen with the glazed expression of someone who had processed exactly 4,723 permit applications in his career. It was Tuesday morning, 10:37, and he was on his second cup of mediocre coffee when his phone buzzed. "Marcus, you need to come downstairs. We have a situation." He sighed, saved his spreadsheet, and shuffled toward the elevator. A situation in municipal government usually meant someone had filled out Form 27B instead of 27C. Nothing exciting. Nothing ever exciting. When he stepped outside, he stopped walking. A massive silver spacecraft hovered above Pioneer Square, roughly the size of 3 city blocks. It looked like someone had merged a cathedral with a spaceship and then polished it until it hurt to look at directly. Purple energy rippled along its hull. The air smelled like ozone and cinnamon. "Hey," Marcus said. Around him, people were taking photos. A bus driver leaned out his window to get a better angle. 2 teenagers sat on a bench, streaming the whole thing. Nobody was screaming. Nobody was running. Traffic had slowed down, sure, but mostly because people were trying to get good pictures. Janet Hoang, who ran the best Korean fusion food truck in downtown Seattle, was shouting at someone. Marcus wandered over. "I don't care if you're from the Galactic Empire," Janet yelled, pointing at the massive ship. "You're blocking my lunch rush. I've got customers." The person she was yelling at was definitely not human. Ambassador Quilneth stood 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin and 4 eyes that blinked in a cascading pattern. He wore robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. His expression, if Marcus was reading it correctly, was one of complete confusion. We have arrived to initiate first contact protocols," Quilneth said in perfect English, though his voice sounded like wind chimes. "This is a momentous occasion in your species' history. We expected more reaction." "Yeah, well, I'm reacting," Janet said. "Move your ship. You're in a loading zone." Tommy Ferrara, 17 years old with exactly 4,000 followers on his streaming channel, was narrating the whole scene. "So yeah, aliens just showed up and Mrs. Hoang is absolutely roasting them about parking. This is the most Seattle thing that's ever happened. Wait, hold on, someone from the city is here." Marcus approached the alien ambassador with his clipboard. "Hi, are you planning to stay long? Because if this is a permanent landing, you'll need to fill out a commercial property permit. Also environmental impact assessment. Maybe a noise variance depending on your engine situation." All 4 of Quilneth's eyes focused on Marcus. This is first contact. The revelation of intelligent life beyond your world. The dawn of a new age for humanity." "Sure, absolutely," Marcus said, clicking his pen. "Still gonna need those forms though. City ordinance. You want me to email them to you or?" Quilneth turned to his aide, a smaller alien with tentacles instead of arms. "Vren, did we prepare for this scenario?" "No, Ambassador," Vren said, consulting a holographic tablet. "Our xenosociology team predicted mass hysteria, religious upheaval, or military aggression. There is no protocol for bureaucratic indifference." "Tell you what," Marcus said, "why don't you come inside, we'll get you sorted with the paperwork, and Janet here can get back to her lunch service." "Fair?" Janet crossed her arms. "I want compensation for lost revenue." They're aliens," Marcus said. "So? They got a ship that big, they can afford to buy some tacos." Quilneth looked between them, his confusion deepening. In all his years as an imperial diplomat, visiting hundreds of worlds, he had never encountered anything like this. Species either worshipped them as gods, attacked them as invaders, or collapsed into philosophical crisis. But these humans were treating the most significant moment in their planetary history like a minor scheduling conflict. Tommy's stream chat was exploding. "Yo, anyone else think the alien kinda looks like if a dolphin and a disco ball had a baby?" Tommy narrated. "Oh wow, now they're going inside. This is wild. Definitely wilder than Mr. Henderson's chemistry class. Subscribe for more alien content, I guess." Inside the municipal building, Marcus led Quilneth to a conference room. The alien barely fit through the door. 3 more humans were already there, looking tired and slightly annoyed at having their coffee break interrupted. "Okay, so," Marcus began, laying out forms. "You're going to need identification documentation for everyone on your ship. Do you have a tax identification number? No? We'll need to issue one. Are you planning commercial activity? Because that's a whole different set of permits." "We are offering your planet membership in the Galactic Empire," Quilneth said, trying to regain some dignity. A civilization spanning 2,000 star systems. Access to technology, trade networks, cultural exchange. Cool, cool, said Patricia Chen from the legal department, not looking up from her phone. Is this like a treaty situation? Because that's federal, you'd need to talk to Washington. We just handle city stuff. Although if you're setting up any kind of physical presence here, that's still on us, Marcus added. Zoning laws. Quilmeth sat down heavily in a chair that creaked under his weight. I do not understand. We have revealed the existence of thousands of alien species. Your world is no longer alone in the universe. Does this not affect you? Marcus shrugged. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely going to trend on Twitter. But I still have rent due on the 1st, you know? The universe being bigger doesn't make my landlord more understanding. We discovered you had nuclear weapons and primitive space travel, Quilneth continued, desperate to find some response that made sense. We assumed you would have questions. Fear. Wonder. Something. Oh, I have questions, Janet said, having followed them inside with a bag of tacos she decided to sell to the aliens anyway. Do you guys eat? Because I'm not running a charity here, but first-timers get 10% off. Quilmeth accepted a taco with trembling hands. He took a bite. It was delicious. Somehow this made everything worse. His communicator chimed. It was the ship. Ambassador, we're detecting unusual activity. The humans they're already trying to reverse engineer our landing gear. One of them is asking if we have USB-C ports. Another is trying to sell us car insurance. Quilneth closed all four eyes. It was going to be a very long Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, the Galactic Empire's diplomatic mission had moved from historic first contact to increasingly bizarre administrative nightmare. Ambassador Quilneth sat in a Seattle hotel conference room, because apparently even aliens needed lodging permits, watching human news coverage with growing disbelief. And in overnight developments, the newscaster said cheerfully, 3 teenagers in Portland have successfully modified Imperial hover technology to create what they're calling definitely legal delivery drones. The Empire has filed a complaint, but authorities say they're too busy processing paperwork to respond. In other news, traffic is up 15% due to alien tourists asking for directions. High Counselor Thravix materialized via hologram, his ancient crystalline form vibrating with what Quilneth had learned to recognize as frustration. Thravix had served on the Galactic Council for 800 years. He had negotiated peace treaties between species that communicated through radioactive spores. He had overseen the integration of 73 civilizations. He was not prepared for humans. Ambassador, Thravix said, his voice like grinding stones, explain to me how, in less than 48 hours, humans have opened 17 unauthorized businesses using Imperial technology, filed 3 lawsuits against us for inadequate parking, and somehow gotten 2 of their representatives elected to our regional trade council. I have no explanation, High Counselor, Quilneth admitted. They are unlike anything in our databases. Across town, Dmitry Volkov was having the best week of his life. As a franchise consultant, he'd built a career helping businesses expand. But this? This was unprecedented. He stood in front of a hastily renovated warehouse, watching workers install a sign that read, Intergalactic, over 1 trillion served, now including 47 star systems. Is glorious, Dmitry said, wiping a tear from his eye. I have franchise locations in shopping malls, airports, even cruise ships. But space station? Different level entirely. His assistant, a nervous woman named Priya, held up a tablet. The Empire is threatening legal action. They say we're violating about 400 different trade regulations. Let them try, Dmitry laughed. I have already hired 3 lawyers. Very good lawyers. They specialize in intergalactic maritime law. Did not even know that was thing until yesterday, but apparently is very complicated. Inside the restaurant, the first training session was underway. A 4-armed alien named KRLL was learning to operate the fryer while a teenager explained TikTok. See, you just do the dance, hold up the fries, and boom, viral content. The Empire's social media game is weak. No offense. KRLL's translator struggled with the phrase weak before settling on inadequate for contemporary discourse standards. He practiced the dance move, his 4 arms creating a mesmerizing pattern. Within an hour, the video had 15 million views. Meanwhile, in a modest apartment in Queens, Rosa Martinez was video calling her grandson on Mars. The connection was crystal clear, courtesy of Imperial communication technology that had taken their civilization 2,000 years to develop. Humans had it working with their existing phones by Tuesday afternoon. "Mijo, you need to eat more," Rosa said, scrutinizing her grandson through the screen. "You look skinny. Are they feeding you properly on that space colony?" "Abuela, I'm fine. I'm in space. Can you believe it? There's a whole colony up here." "Space, schmace," Rosa said, waving her hand. "Your cousin Angela just had twins. When are you going to settle down? There must be nice girls on Mars." Her neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski, leaned into frame. "Rosa, ask him if they have good pierogi on Mars. Because I'm thinking of visiting my sister in the Andromeda outpost." "There's an Andromeda outpost?" Rosa's grandson asked. "Since Tuesday evening," Mrs. Kowalski said. "They're running a special. Round trip, very reasonable." Back in Seattle, Kevin Park was having an even better week than Dimitri. A cryptocurrency trader who'd been looking for the next big thing, he'd immediately recognized the potential in Imperial credits. By Wednesday, he'd set up an underground exchange in a basement nightclub, trading Imperial currency at rates that were definitely not authorized by any government, human or alien. "It's beautiful," Kevin said, watching holographic numbers dance across his screens. "They have a currency that's accepted across 2,000 star systems, and they're shocked, that humans want to trade it. Like, what did they expect?" His partner, a college dropout named Jade, was managing the betting pools. "We've got odds on everything. Which species joins the Empire next? Whether humans will start a war within a month. How long before someone opens a Starbucks on an Imperial cruiser?" "Someone already did that," Kevin said, checking his phone. "This morning. It's trending." At the Seattle Municipal Building, Marcus Webb had given up any pretense of understanding what was happening. His desk was buried in forms. Applications for interstellar trade licenses. Permits for gravity manipulation devices. Zoning requests for dimensional portals. Someone wanted approval to open a nightclub that existed in 4 dimensions simultaneously. "This is fine," Marcus muttered, stamping another form. "This is completely normal. Just another day." Ambassador Quilneth found him there, looking desperate. "Mr. Webb, I need your help. Your species is treating the Empire like a service provider?" Marcus suggested. "Yes. Exactly. How do you not understand the magnitude?" "Look," Marcus interrupted, "I get it. You're a big deal. 2,000 star systems, very impressive. But from our perspective? You showed up, offered us stuff, and we said okay, cool, here's what we need. That's just how things work." High Counselor Thravix appeared in hologram form beside them, making Marcus jump. "Impossible. Every species we have encountered required decades of adjustment. Psychological counseling. Cultural preparation." Marcus shrugged. "We had the internet for that. By Tuesday night, there were already 10,000 memes about you guys. The adjustment period was like 6 hours. Maybe 8. Memes?" Thravix's crystalline structure flickered in confusion. "Internet jokes," Marcus explained. "There's a really good one comparing your ship to a divorced dad's sports car. Very funny." Quilneth made a sound like a deflating balloon. "We are one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. We have shaped the destiny of thousands of worlds." "That's great," Marcus said. "Did you fill out Form 77J? The one about cultural impact assessments?" In a Brooklyn apartment, Patricia Patty O'Brien was preparing for what she called the easiest election of my life. A former city council member known for her aggressive approach to local politics, she'd somehow gotten herself nominated for the Empire's Regional Trade Council. "It's simple," she explained to her campaign manager. "These aliens have been doing things the same way for thousands of years. They're bureaucrats. I know bureaucrats. You just show up, complain loudly about inefficiency, promise to fix things, and boom, they vote for you because they're desperate for someone who sounds confident. But Patty, you don't know anything about intergalactic trade." "Neither do they. They've been trading with the same 50 species for centuries. They're stagnant. Meanwhile, humans invented the internet, cryptocurrency, and TikTok in like 30 years. We're chaos agents. They need that." By Wednesday evening, she'd won by a landslide. Her campaign slogan, "Make the Empire work for you," resonated with both humans and surprisingly, several alien species who were tired of the status quo. Quilneth watched her victory speech from his hotel room, all 4 eyes fixed on the screen in horror. The Empire's customer service is terrible, Patty announced to cheering crowds. Have you tried filing a complaint? Takes 6 months. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to make this bureaucracy work like it's supposed to. High Counselor Thravix appeared beside Quilneth again. This is unprecedented. She is treating the Galactic Council like a HOA board meeting, Marcus supplied, having stopped by to deliver more forms. Yeah, she does that. Very effective, honestly. Thravix's hologram flickered. I have served the Empire for 8 centuries. I have witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. I have negotiated treaties that preserved peace for generations. His voice dropped to something almost like wonder. But I have never encountered a species that treats cosmic significance like a minor administrative inconvenience. Is that a problem? Marcus asked. Quilneth and Thravix looked at each other. Slowly, the ancient counselor's crystalline form began to pulse with something that might have been laughter. No, Thravix said finally. It is perhaps the most terrifying thing I have ever witnessed. But no, not a problem. Merely, humbling. Outside, the Wednesday evening rush hour continued. Humans commuted home using a mixture of cars, buses, and illegally modified hoverboards. Somewhere, Dimitri was negotiating franchise rights for the Horsehead Nebula. Rosa was teaching her Mars grandson her secret tamale recipe via hologram. Kevin was calculating exchange rates while avoiding 3 different regulatory agencies. And the Galactic Empire quietly began to realize they hadn't added Earth to their civilization. Earth had simply added them to the list of things to deal with on a Wednesday. 4 weeks after first contact, Ambassador Quilneth attended his first Galactic Council session since Earth's integration. He'd been dreading it. The council chamber, carved from a single asteroid and decorated with crystals that had witnessed 10,000 years of deliberation, felt different now. 3 humans sat in newly installed chairs, looking as comfortable as if they were waiting for a dentist appointment. Patricia Patty O'Brien sat in the center, flanked by 2 other recently elected human representatives, James Okonkwo, a former logistics manager from Lagos, and Lin Zhao, a retired teacher from Beijing who'd won her seat by promising to fix the Empire's terrible education system. They were all drinking coffee from travel mugs. High Counselor Thravix called the session to order, his crystalline form glowing with ceremonial light. We gather to discuss the integration of... Point of order, Patty interrupted, raising her hand like she was in a town hall meeting. Every alien in the chamber tensed. Interrupting the High Counselor was simply not done. Thravix himself seemed to freeze, his glow dimming slightly. Yes? Representative O'Brien? The chairs are uncomfortable, the lighting gives me a headache, and this meeting was scheduled for 8 a.m. Earth time, which is completely unreasonable. I move that we implement rotating time slots that accommodate different planetary cycles, invest in ergonomic seating, and install better ventilation because, no offense, but Councillor Vraxen smells like sulfur. Vraxen, a being composed entirely of volcanic rock, made an offended rumbling sound. Additionally, Patty continued, pulling out a tablet, I've reviewed the Council's purchasing records. You're overpaying for your communication crystals by about 40%. I know a guy in Shenzhen who can get them for half that. The chamber erupted in confused chittering, humming, and telepathic static. Thravix's glow flickered rapidly, the crystalline equivalent of sputtering. Representative O'Brien, these protocols have been in place for millennia. Yeah, and they're inefficient, James cut in. His accent was crisp, his tone matter-of-fact. I ran a supply chain for a company that shipped to 43 countries. Your logistics are a mess. You're routing trade ships through 12 unnecessary checkpoints. I've mapped out a better system. Could save you 30% on fuel costs. Lin Zhao adjusted her glasses. Also, your educational materials are outdated. I reviewed the cultural integration curriculum. It's essentially propaganda. Children need critical thinking skills, not memorization of imperial glory. I've drafted a new syllabus. She slid a data chip across the table. Several counselors stared at it like it might explode. Back on Earth, Marcus Webb had finally achieved what he considered a personal victory. He'd processed all the initial imperial paperwork. His cubicle was almost clear. He leaned back in his chair, savoring the moment, when his supervisor appeared. Marcus, good news. The Empire just opened a permanent embassy in New York. They need someone to handle ongoing administrative coordination. Marcus closed his eyes. Of course they do. You're the obvious choice. You understand their systems, you've been patient with them, and honestly, you're the only person who hasn't quit yet. When do I start? You already did. The ambassador is in conference room B. He says it's urgent. In conference room B, Marcus found Quilneth looking more exhausted than usual. The ambassador's iridescent skin had dulled to a tired blue. Mr. Webb, I need to understand something, Quilneth said without preamble. How is your species so unbothered by everything? Marcus poured himself coffee from the machine. What do you mean? We offered you the stars. We revealed that the universe is filled with thousands of intelligent species. We showed you technology that defies your physics. And your response was to immediately start franchising fast food restaurants and gambling with our currency. Well, yeah, Marcus said. I mean, what else were we supposed to do? Panic? Wonder? Question your place in the cosmos? Marcus considered this. I think we did that already. When we invented nuclear weapons and realized we could destroy ourselves. When we developed the internet and saw how connected and divided we really were. When climate change became real and we had to accept we'd been wrecking our own planet. He sipped his coffee. The thing about humans is, we're really good at adapting to terrible news. Aliens existing? Honestly, that's one of the less stressful things we've dealt with lately. Quilneth sat heavily. The council believes humans are changing the empire. Is that bad? I don't know anymore. Representative O'Brien has reduced council meeting times by 40% while somehow increasing productivity. James Okonkwo redesigned our entire trade network, and shipping costs have plummeted. Lin Zhao's education proposals are being adopted across 12 systems because, apparently, everyone was tired of the propaganda but too polite to say so. Marcus nodded. Sounds like they're doing good work. They're treating the Galactic Council like a homeowners association. Yeah, but like an HRA that actually works. That's pretty impressive. Across the city, Dmitry Volkov was conducting a video conference with partners across 3 star systems. His intergalactic franchise empire had grown beyond his wildest dreams. McIntergalactic now had locations on 4 to 7 worlds. He'd also branched into pizza, coffee, and somehow, dry cleaning. Is beautiful, he said to Priya, watching profit margins scroll across screens. We have brought efficiency to Galaxy. Also, breadsticks. The Empire is investigating us for unfair business practices, Priya reminded him. Let them investigate. We follow all rules. Even the stupid ones. Especially the stupid ones. That is secret of success, knowing which regulations matter and which are just bureaucratic nonsense. His phone buzzed. It was a message from an alien entrepreneur on Proxima Station wanting to partner on a fusion restaurant concept. Authentic Earth Thai food meets crystalline energy cuisine. Dmitry approved it immediately. In Queens, Rosa Martinez was hosting what had become a weekly tradition, intergalactic potluck dinner. Her apartment was crowded with neighbors, relatives video calling from Mars and Europa, and 3 aliens who'd moved to Earth because they found human culture refreshingly direct. You need to try my pozole, Rosa insisted, ladling soup into a bowl for KRWLL, the 4-armed alien from McIntergalactic. It cures everything. Bad day, broken heart, existential dread about your place in the universe, pozole fixes it. Mrs. Kowalski brought pierogi. Mr. Johnson from downstairs contributed his famous ribs. The aliens brought what they called crystallized starfruit, which tasted like mango mixed with electricity. This is strange, one alien, a floating jellyfish-like being named Korath, said through his translator. On my world, we do not share meals with other species. It is considered too intimate. Well, you're not on your world, Rosa said, patting his gelatinous surface. You're in Queens. We share food. That's what we do. But why? Rosa thought about it. Because food is life. And life is better when shared. Also, I made too much and it will go bad. Korath's translator struggled with this logic for a moment before giving up. But he ate the pozole anyway. It was delicious. Back in the council chamber, the session was finally ending. It had lasted 3 hours instead of the usual 12, mostly because Patty had aggressively enforced staying on topic. Several ancient councillors looked dazed, unaccustomed to such efficiency. Thravix called for final remarks. Zormak, a philosopher from a species that communicated through bioluminescent patterns, had been silent the entire meeting. Now he glowed softly, his patterns thoughtful and melancholic. I have studied the human integration extensively, his translator said. I have reached a conclusion that troubles me deeply. The chamber fell silent. We believed we were granting humans access to our great civilization. We believed they would be awed, transformed, elevated by joining us. His patterns shifted to something like sadness. But I now understand the truth. Humans were not waiting for us to show them the stars. They were already heading there, with or without our permission. We did not grant them membership in our empire. They simply added us to their list. Patty checked her phone. Yeah, pretty much. Is there a point? The point, Zormak continued, his patterns brightening, is that in 800 years of studying civilizations, I have never encountered a species that treats cosmic significance as a subscription service. It should horrify me. Instead, I find it liberating. Thravix's glow pulsed in what might have been agreement. The Empire has existed for 10,000 years, he said slowly. We have grown comfortable, stagnant even. Humans remind us that civilization is not something to worship. It is something to use, improve, and occasionally complain about when it doesn't work properly. James raised his hand. Speaking of which, can we talk about your tax code? Because I've been reviewing it, and honestly, it's a nightmare. I have some suggestions. As the council dissolved into another impromptu efficiency discussion, Quilneth slipped out quietly. He found Marcus waiting in the hallway, processing forms on his tablet. Your species is going to change everything, Quilneth said. Marcus looked up. Is that okay? The ambassador thought about it. About Patty's aggressive efficiency. About Dimitri's franchise empire bringing cheap food to worlds that had only known expensive imperial rations. About Rosa's potlucks creating friendships across species barriers. About Kevin's illegal but surprisingly functional currency exchange that was actually making trade easier. About humans treating the most powerful empire in the galaxy like it was just another institution that needed fixing. Yes, Quilneth said finally. Yes, I think it is. Cool, Marcus said, returning to his tablet. Oh, by the way, someone filed a request to open a theme park on your capital world. Something called Galactic Empire Land. They want to put in roller coasters. Quilneth laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a hurricane. Approve it. Really? Why not? In 4 weeks, humans have done more to shake up our empire than happened in the previous 1,000 years. I say we lean into it. Marcus stamped the approval, then paused. You know what the weird thing is? I don't think we're trying to change anything. We're just being ourselves. I know, Quilneth said. That's what makes it so terrifying. And so wonderful. He walked away, leaving Marcus to his paperwork. Outside, Earth continued spinning. Humans continued adapting, complaining, innovating, and treating the revelation of galactic civilization with the same energy they treat a new streaming service. Mildly interested, slightly annoyed by the terms of service, but ultimately willing to give it a shot if the content was good. The Galactic Empire had spent 10,000 years believing they were the pinnacle of civilization. Then humans showed up on a Tuesday and said, yeah, this is fine. Could be better though. Have you considered implementing a feedback system? And somehow, impossibly, the galaxy was better for it. In her apartment, Patty O'Brien was already drafting her next council proposal, something about improving emergency response times across imperial space. She paused to take a sip of wine and looked out at the night sky, now filled with ships coming and going, proof that Earth was no longer alone. Not bad for a month's work, she muttered. Then she returned to her laptop. The galaxy wasn't going to fix itself, and someone had to keep these ancient aliens organized. It might as well be humanity. After all, they'd already subscribed to the service. Might as well leave a review. Retry.